All right, welcome back to another episode of Unspoken Chats. This one's going to be a little bit different to the past few episodes. So we've got Joshua here.
Yo.
So we've got Josh on. We're going to talk a bit about being diagnosed at a young age or a fairly young age with ADHD. Is that accurate to say? Would you say that?
Yeah, I think diagnosis was definitely, year 9, I reckon. But still, there's probably, diagnosis is one thing, but managing it is very different.
So we'll be covering that, how he's found growing up with it, how he's learned to deal with it, and go from there. Do you want to give us a bit of a background?
Depends. Like, it's a broad topic. I think I'll probably preface it with...
Are there different types of ADHD?
That's the thing. I was going to preface it with the fact that, like, my experience is going to be different to everyone's experience. Everyone has, again, it's a spectrum. For everyone who doesn't know anything about ADHD, it's pretty much on the spectrum of autism. So you've got autism on one side, you've got ADHD on the other side, and in between is obviously a massive range. So everything I say is going to be my personal experience. If you can resonate with it, you do. If you don't, it's not invalidating how you feel or how you might suffer with it, because everyone's different.
I think there's no right or wrong way to feel and no right or wrong experiences.
Definitely not.
No.
Yeah, take it away.
Yeah. So, we touched on from a young age, you were diagnosed, you said around year 9.
Yeah.
What led to that? Like what made, I don't know, because obviously there's year 9, prior to year 9, since you're like a little kid.
I think probably as of the age of 5, I think that's when everyone started noticing like the impulsivity, the talkativeness, being reckless.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff, hyperactivity. And then I think, if you really see the symptoms and you see the signs early on, you probably diagnose a child earlier. Because now I talk to parents who have kids who are struggling, who are, talkative, inattentive, and I resonate with it. And I kind of see like, oh, that was me. This is what you should do.
And a lot of time parents just think, oh, I've just got a naughty kid.
Yeah. Most people just go, he's just troubled. I'm like, no, not really. But that was the consensus back then. And it is to some extent now. I think parents are still reluctant to not label their kids, but to put them in a box.
Yeah.
But in reality, if they do get them help early or they educate themselves on the topic, then it does benefit the child and the parent from early on. But yeah, pretty much, talkative, interrupting in class, inattentive. Yeah. I think all the symptoms were there. It just took such a long time for a diagnosis because, back then it was not fairly new, but, it wasn't really common.
It wasn't really a thing.
No, it wasn't a thing, bro. Like, the reality is I think people these days...
Easy with that one, though.
Sorry, man. But that's the clumsiness, I guess.
Yeah.
But
kicking in.
Oh, look, mate, you're the one who put a lemon on the wall. But yeah, I think... See what I mean? Now I forgot where I was at. This is literally... Yeah, all right. So, yeah.
No, we're talking about parents and their kids.
Yeah, but basically parents are reluctant to put their kids in a box. And the advice I'm going to give to parents, and take it with a grain of salt, is getting them help early on and not labeling them as troubled, not reinforcing the fact that they're talkative. Like, they know they're talkative. They know they don't fit in, whatever. Just, they need more support. And then it's even weirder. It's strange for me because obviously being high functioning in ADHD is completely from ballpark because you're constantly gaslit for your entire life.
What's that mean?
So I think the thing people don't realize is obviously, again, with the spectrum, like if you're intelligent, you're not going to be not intelligent because you've got ADHD. Yeah. That's just the two separate things. Obviously your creativity and the way your brain's wired does correlate. But, if you can mask your ADHD, so what happens is throughout childhood, and I only realized this recently, probably over the past 3-4 years, because as of late, like you start to kind of relearn or educate yourself with regards to ADHD, and you go, oh, okay, 1 second. This isn't my personality. This is a character or hallmark characteristic of ADHD. And then you kind of sit there and go, all right, well, let's see how I can mitigate that symptom, or let's see how I can fix it. But previously, so people who have ADHD can resonate with this. You know, because you're rejected so much or so many times during your childhood because you're too talkative, you don't fit in. You know, the way you think's a bit different. You're interrupting class a lot and all that kind of stuff. You do really get shut down. Like, you know, people go, "Oh, why can't you just be quiet?" I'm like, well, you know,
I can't.
I'm trying my
I
best.
literally can't.
And then there were situations, and this is obviously going back to primary school and high school. It's like you put your hand up because you don't have to answer the question, and because you're the talkative one, well, not even the talkative one, but you're the one that everyone's got
You're the
their
one
eye
that
on.
stands out.
Everyone that's because you stand out, or I stood out. Then they'll vindictively not pick you, and then they'll just wait another 10 seconds. No one's put a hand up, and then I'll say the answer, and they'll be like, "Get outside." I'm like, well, you can just sit here for the next eternity waiting for someone to answer the question or pick the guy who knows the answer.
Mm.
And then that's what they're quote unquote troubled.
Yeah.
So then you're constantly, oh, he's got so much potential. But if he applied himself and the bane of my existence. And I think
my favorite one growing up was, "Oh, it's your work ethic."
yeah. I was like, sorry?
Like, what work ethic? What do you mean?
Yeah. And then throughout, you know, education, if you applied yourself, you'd be, you know, doing amazing things.
So much potential.
Yeah, but just wasted. And I'm like, sorry? I was like, nice. And the thing is, I didn't realize that impacts you inherently because now, like, you become hypercritical. Now, no matter what you succeed in, no matter what you do, you're still not you don't believe you've achieved your potential.
Yeah, you're like, there's that, wasn't that good. Like, I could have done better.
Yeah, literally, you don't have any sense of, like, satisfaction accomplishing anything. Like, I literally finished uni, couldn't care less.
Yeah.
I was like, that's done. Next. Everyone's excited, celebrating, throwing parties. Everyone's hanging their degrees on the wall. Me, I'm like, where's the nearest tablecloth I can chuck it under?
Yeah.
Literally, they're literally just collecting dust under a table. I'm like, you know, it is what it is. Wow, this conversation is going to be so ADHD-esque, unfortunately, because
I think it's already popping off.
Yeah. So, yeah. What questions do you think like you've got that you can probably answer to give it some direction? Because I'm not going to give it any direction.
In what sense? What do you mean? Like,
do you want advice? Do you want my personal opinion? Do you want my personal experience?
I think it's what we're doing, like covering off your experience so far. Because like you said, I think we went on a bit of a tangent. We've just gone from when you were younger.
Yeah, it's going to happen, unfortunately. I guess I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you found it. So when you were younger, obviously it wasn't seen as a thing back then. And then, but what triggered your parents to be like, okay, let's actually get him checked?
Honestly, I don't think...
Because it's obviously quite rare.
It is, but it isn't. I think it was the sheer fact that they couldn't ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think... And it's not my parents excluded. I don't think parents understand it fully.
100%.
I think it's... because everyone obviously experiences the same symptoms. Everyone.
Yeah.
Not just people with ADHD, but people with ADHD experience it to a severe extent and a lot more frequently. That's why you hear random people going, "Oh my God, I have ADHD."
Yeah.
I was like, no, man, you just did that one thing once.
It's become like the new flavor of the month.
Yeah, basically. It's like, oh my God, it's a bit fruity. I'm like, no, stop.
They've got ADHD.
Yeah. It's basically when someone does something that, you know, seems a bit weird.
Yeah, it seems a little bit out of the ordinary.
Yeah, I'm like ADHD.
Or someone wants to be like, do something stupid, but I'll just blame it on...
Yeah, pretty much. And the thing is that what they do isn't inherently anything correlating to ADHD. So you sit there going, wow, okay, well, you're giving us a bad name. So everyone thinks ADHD is something it's not. Like people think that you're off the rails. I've had people go to me like who have like got to know me and I tell them like, you know, I've got ADHD. Not because it's a bad, like it affects them at all. And they go, really? You have your life together?
Do you have your life together?
No, like as in like on their spectrum, like I've got my life together. Like I have a job, you know, I work, go to the gym, all that kind of stuff.
Not bad.
No, but like by their metric, I've got my life together. I have, you know, we go out, have friends, whatever. I'm like, your standard of what my life together is and what my standard is a completely different thing, man. Like I'm nowhere near where I want to be.
Yeah.
But then you're telling like how do you have ADHD? You got your life together. And then I'm just like, fair enough. I was like, but that's the constant as well. The constant is back to what I was saying with regards to being like relative. I don't really call myself smart, but you know, just being good at school. Let's say that. Being good at school, you often mask. So when you get shut down as a kid, as I was saying with regards to learning it, you mask your personality. your confidence diminishes because you get rejected by everyone, teachers, friends, whatever, even your
And
like
then
parents.
you look at, okay, like they're the kids that aren't copying
much.
what I'm copying,
Yeah.
like copying. So I'll just try to be like them, I guess, a little bit. See what like
Pretty
what's working for them. I'll try it, sort of thing.
Pretty much, and that
And
diminishes
then you're
your
like,
personality.
wait, yeah,
You diminish yourself. You shrink yourself to fit in an environment which can't handle you.
Mm.
And then you get to uni, and everyone's talking.
Yeah.
You get to uni, no one shuts up.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't even get a word in. There's about 10,000 conversations in the classroom. No one's silent. And I'm like, interesting. I love it here. I'm like, I got thrown out of every classroom for pretty much existing.
In high school?
Yeah, in high school. You know, oh, get out. What they do? Dropped your pen.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
That's probably, you dropped your pen in your head, but probably you don't know, you're probably bouncing off a wall.
No, bro. I literally got thrown out of a classroom once for dropping a pen, and they thought I was doing it intentionally.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I wasn't. I wasn't at all. But then you have people who like weren't the target, or they didn't stand out.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't shut up, and they wouldn't get called out on it. So then you kind of go, all right, here I am being victimized. You don't play the victim card, but then it's like, you know, whatever. And then you start diminishing yourself and masking. So then your personality kind of shrinks and then you actually have to relearn your confidence.
Yeah.
And kind of become comfortable being yourself.
Yeah.
And that's my personal experience. I'm not sure, honestly. People might have suffered worse. People might have like still struggling with that. The reality is, it takes time.
Yeah.
Don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't sit there going, "Oh my God, I'm not where I want to be," or, you know, "I'm not confident." Everything takes time. Everything's a process of learning your triggers, your habits, and
of course,
and just figuring out, because again, everyone's different. Everyone has different experiences, so it can't be blanketed advice.
Yeah. So your transition from school to uni was, like you said, it's
night and day.
Yeah.
Night and day. Because obviously in school, and you can probably relate to this, and everyone can relate to this, not everyone cares about every subject.
100%. So, yeah, you've got, like, for example, like I'm sitting there doing food tech.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind cooking.
But just not what they want to make.
I don't care about your chemical sciences of the foods that are going to react with sodium and like.
But that's the thing. It's like,
it's probably not even right. That's how much attention I paid to it.
But it's like, all right, and this is going to be a really straightforward analogy. Well, not even an analogy, actually. It's a statement. How many times has anyone ever used algebra outside of school unless their job requires it?
Well, yeah. Why would you use it unless your job required it?
Exactly. So we have a calculator here in our phones, at the palm of our hands. And we had calculators that weren't in our phones. So when you sit there in school and you realize that half the stuff they're teaching you, well, pretty much everything they're teaching you besides the stuff that you care about, is irrelevant.
It's very specific. Like, a lot of it is like...
They don't teach you anything useful.
Yeah.
To put it in simple terms, nothing you learn in school.
It's useful to the minority of people that get 99.8 and get ducks in their class.
Yeah, and then they go do med and suffer for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
That's them. They can do that. That's fine. But yeah, so what I realized was everything that interested me, I did well in.
Yeah.
What happened with me was when I hit year 11, when I got to pick subjects I wanted to do, easy. Teachers will I literally speak to the teacher. Hey, I study best alone with headphones in because everyone else is talking. Let me just sit on the computer and do my own thing. Anyway, but yeah, so it started in year 11. You kind of do your own thing.
Yeah.
You have to obviously do math. I dropped math as soon as possible, literally as soon as possible, because again, I'm not going to sit here and pay attention to stuff I don't care about. And that's the thing. People go, oh, it's because you don't apply yourself. I'm like, no. People with ADHD have this ability to hyperfocus. If you care about something, bless, we'll be the best at it. Like literally, no matter what it is, if we actually have an interest in it and it actually piques our interest, easy. If we don't care about it, you could not pay me enough to actually pay attention to do the work. Like literally, you could not pay me enough.
100%. But you probably pay me enough.
I don't to do it and do it every day.
Depends on how much enough is.
You reckon? You reckon if someone gave you money to do the most, like, I don't know, think of a job you'd never do.
Something brain dead.
Something brain dead, and you're telling me money.
How much money is it?
It's gonna, let's say reasonable, bro. It has to be like an amount that they actually pay an employee. Not gonna pay you $1 million to do something brain dead.
That's not. That's
all right. Let's say what's the most boring job you can think of?
It depends. Like in this boring job, can I just sit there on my phone?
No, you actually have to do the job.
Yeah,
what's that one? What's the one subject you hated the most in school?
Wouldn't even
all
know.
of them.
Yeah, probably.
No. So what's that? You said food tech.
What? I'd cook.
All right, food maybe is not. You probably sit there and eat, bro. You wouldn't cook. Accounting.
I don't mind numbers.
You make physics.
Yeah, it's all right. Had to do it eventually.
Why are you making this difficult for? I don't think your brain would survive.
Well, we've gone on a big tangent. This is ADHD at its finest.
I don't think you'd survive in an environment where you have to do mundane work without using your brain.
No, I'm not saying you'd survive.
But then so you think the money won't mean anything at that point. You've been sitting there going, what's going on here?
Yeah, correct. So when I've got enough money, I don't need to do it. That's why you said.
I don't think you will actually get there.
But the statement was you couldn't pay me enough.
But I don't think you'll get there.
I think you could pay me enough.
Oh, they could. But then you'd lose your mind.
That's fine. I'll lose my mind at a price.
What is the point of having money without a brain?
I'll find it again.
Oh, I don't think so, man. If your brain shrinks that much, it ain't going to be recovering.
We'll see.
But yeah, basically, we've covered off childhood briefly. We've covered off school, and then uni. Get to uni. Uni's a completely different ball game. Obviously, you're doing whatever you want to do. I did law and international relations. Love them both. Complete breeze.
Yeah.
The good thing with ADHD is we work perfectly under chaos and under pressure. When our cortisol levels are through the roof, you can get pretty much anything done in a tiny time frame to, B or A standard, depending on the subject. And you kind of cruise through uni, which is ironic because the guy who diagnosed me with ADHD basically said, if I didn't get medicated, which I wasn't medicated for a very long time, if you didn't take meds, you'd never amount to anything.
Well.
And I was like, ooh, fair enough. And then
you're like, that's a challenge.
Yeah, no, literally, I was like, bet. And then the same year when I moved to a different school, the vice principal basically didn't let me do year 11 subjects in year 10 because she was like, we're not sure if he's capable. And then I went to get 100% on the 1 and 2 just to piss her off.
Yeah.
No, literally.
That's fair.
But I was like, okay. And then literally, I didn't let her forget it. I was like, do you remember when you said I wouldn't amount, like I couldn't do this because you didn't know I was capable?
What'd she say? Just buckled.
Yeah, stump mullet. No words. But yeah, so that's the thing. Like, and the thing is, they're constantly telling you got potential, but you want to apply yourself. When you apply yourself, like, wow.
No, my favorite is when they tell you you've got potential, but they won't help you out. You to get there.
Yeah, it's like, well, if you're telling me I have potential, why won't you let me prove it?
If you see my potential, why aren't you helping me get to it?
Yeah, pretty much. But that's the thing. It's because, one, they don't really care. They're there to get paid. They're underpaid anyway. They haven't got the resources, the funding. And most teachers, have got 25 other students to worry about. So now it's really worse because now you got all this other stuff happening to education. That's making it 10 times more difficult to focus on people who need help or people with potential. So then they obviously fall behind. What else?
So you're talking about him about getting medicated? Yeah.
So it also depends on people, depends on the person as well.
So you weren't medicated in high school or uni?
Nah. So I took meds for a year.
So when they diagnosed you, what were the next steps there? Like, what did they do to
just meds?
Aid you? So they gave you meds?
No, that's it. That's all they could offer.
Oh, that's what. Okay. So they offered you meds when you were younger, but you never got them.
I got them. I took them for a year.
At work? When was that, year 9?
Nah, I took them for, I think, year 10.
Yeah.
Didn't like how I was responding to it.
But you got 100% in the
No, that was year 11. Oh. So year 11, I jumped off meds.
Yeah.
And then I realized how I could better study, and the fact that doing subjects I cared about piqued my interest. I was like, oh, okay. So methods, no chance. Business, legal, politics, easy. Like I actually care to actually learn this stuff, and it's subjects where you get to use your brain.
Yeah. I think it's use your brain in something that suits
exactly.
The way your brain works.
Pretty much, which to be fair, I'm still learning because I didn't realize until recently that people don't have 10 to 30 thoughts in their brain at once every single second of every day.
Yeah, was it Sarah that said she thought it was weird because we hear like a voice, like our voice in our head talking.
Yeah, I've got a basically
a running monologue.
Yeah, running monologue, basically solving problems, having conversations that I'm about to have with someone. Before the conversation happens, it's either finished in my head, they're midway through talking, I've already finished the conversation, I'll know what they're going to say, but I didn't realize that wasn't normal. And then apparently, statistically speaking, was it, I think 50 to 60% of people don't have it? And I was like, wow, that must be lonely. Imagine how quiet.
Yeah, what's happening in your head when that's not talking? Like,
yeah, I'm just like, so
is it just?
So how do you start thinking? Do you just like
Is
turn the pilot light on? Like, what is going on?
How do they think though?
But that's the thing. Everyone's different. And then, like, obviously getting older, you learn that because you obviously inherently assume that everyone thinks the way you do because you don't know any better. Like until you get to know someone like on a relatively close level.
A little bit off topic, but this kind of triggers something. Apparently, everyone sees colors differently. So, like, every color that I see is a different color to you.
I've never heard that, but is it talking about Fantasia? So
I don't know what that is.
Have you ever? So with regards to like, if I tell you to picture a red car, can you picture the car?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
No, but can you see the car can you see the car and like in detail the color and everything?
Kinda.
All right. Well, there's people who can't see anything. Like if I tell them picture a red car, they actually the word car's in there, like the word car. They can't picture anything in their brain. And then that's the thing. If you walk around assuming everyone thinks like you,
but it's weird. Like I just thought that was that was crazy to think of. Like the color red to me could be the color green to you. All
right. Well, but the cube, for example, and the lemon. Let's address the lemon in the room.
Yeah, but that's what we think the color is. Like we don't know any different. I don't know what you see, but
I see yellow.
Yeah, I see yellow as well. But what yellow is to you is a different color to me.
Are we talking shade?
No, just color.
Who told you this fact? Is it source checked? Is this TikTok?
I'll source check it. No, it's before TikTok.
Before TikTok?
This was in...
Wow, look at you predating TikTok, you dinosaur.
Ahead of our time.
What were we talking?
People not thinking the same.
Bro, this guy just runs a random fact about colours.
Undiagnosed ADHD.
Yeah, see what it means? We're just confused.
We're all got ADHD now.
Wow. There you go. Just throw it out like it's like a disability sticker.
Yep.
I
wonder if you could get a disability sticker for ADHD.
I'm not disabled, bro. I'm nowhere near disabled. Ironically, nowhere near it. Because apparently I got my life together. What the hell were you saying?
How people think.
Take your lemon.
No.
Take your lemon and tell me what color it is.
Don't.
So basically, I had to learn that people think differently in order to not feel misunderstood and to understand them as well. So one thing that people with ADHD had to do with masking, we had to learn how to read people like the back of our hands.
Yeah.
So basically, if you're wondering if I know you and you're wondering why I can read you so well, it's basically because that was a mechanism developed through childhood to basically shrink myself or my personality to a particular size to make sure that it wasn't noticed. But then it's not like my personality is negative, but just the sheer fact of, in classrooms, you really can't be yourself.
Yeah.
But then you get out of classroom, uni, whatever, into society and you realize that, there's nothing to really be concerned about. But then you learn how, like, people that you want to avoid, people you don't avoid.
You
people
learn
how to avoid people, but not even by interacting with them, just by observing their behavior.
Yeah.
Being quiet and just like looking at their actions and their personality types and all that, and reading them and going, you're not my person, nothing against you at all whatsoever. But we're not going to gel.
I'd rather go without. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna get along. And it's not because anything wrong with either of us. It's just the fact that like we click with particular people. You know, people who are authentic sometimes find it easy to click with people who are authentic. It's just a bit raw.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily like it's not even that. It's like the small talk sometimes kills us.
I think it's as well. It's like it's how much time you have for that certain person as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you said, if it's someone that you feel is authentic in your sense as well, you'll give them more time a day, and you'll hear them out. Or if it's someone you're like, I can't listen to you. So, and they could be saying something like genuine as.
Yeah, but you just don't
and
care.
then as soon as the second their mouth opens,
You just don't
you're
care.
done. You're like,
But that I think that for me personally equates to the fact that I'm also highly empathetic.
yeah,
And in order to protect, I realized again, I had to realize this, but people drain me. Like I'm extroverted, introverted at the same time. So I'm ambivert. That's apparently what it's called.
ambivert.
It's ambivert.
Oh, because like ambidextrous, you can use both.
I don't think that's, but maybe that's it. Maybe that's what, okay. ¿Por qué no las dos? I can't do both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I realized you got to avoid people that will drain you because goddamn, they drain. Like if they drain your energy and they dump all this trauma on you, you're sitting there going, now I got to process this with about the other 30,000 thoughts I've got in my brain this week. But then you also people please, and you always want to be there for people because you know how it feels to need support. So you're always there for everyone else. So then you've got this endless amount of, I think, empathy until it shuts off. And then people wonder why you're like cold or why, like, how'd you go from someone who has the biggest heart to absolutely brutal? I was like, well, you move different.
It ran out.
Yeah. It ran out and didn't run out in general. It ran out for you.
Yeah.
Because you were using and abusing it. So then it's like, nah, done.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that was the thing. That was always a learning curve as well. People love to throw out that, I'm an empath. I was like,
there's a few new TikTok flavor of the month terms.
It's like, I'm an empath. That's ADHD-esque. I was like, really?
Tell me more.
Yeah. So yeah. How do you sleep at night at a regular time? Yeah. I was like, okay, well, you probably don't have ADHD then because usually our brains wake up when the world is quiet and our melatonin receptors or whatever releases melatonin in the brain doesn't actually release it at the same time. It's delayed.
Yeah.
Hence why we're up like night owls.
All right, let's get back on track. I think we've gone on a bit of a tangent there. So from memory, I think we were talking about...
We can talk memory if you want.
No. Save it. You're talking about being medicated. You went on it in year 10, didn't like it, and then you've gone through the rest of high school and uni?
Yeah.
Without it?
I didn't need it for uni. Uni was pure cortisol and hyperfixation.
Okay.
It was the sheer fact that I picked what I want to study
and
just went with it. Yeah. Like, obviously, I learned heaps of study techniques, what worked for me, rope learning, writing down notes, mind maps, body doubling. So, like, obviously, remember that back in the day, me and you and Sarah used to study together. Yep. Just having you there wasn't the fact that I talked to you.
It's just,
just having someone there just to, like, you see them studying, you study. You'll still get up and get distracted and whatever. But it's the body doubling works. Like, if someone's watching this and they're struggling through uni now and they've got ADHD, body doubling is literally a savior because you've got someone to keep you company. You don't talk to them. You've got headphones in. You're not understimulated. You're not overstimulated.
But you know they're there.
Yeah.
You're not alone in...
Yeah, in your the grind of having to write this essay in 4 hours.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, the worst thing you can probably do is do whatever everyone else is doing. People have that study group, the massive study group of 5-6 people. Everyone's firing ideas and you're sitting there going, I need peace and quiet. I just need to I get this topic, but we're going to discuss it from 70 different angles to get the answer. We've got the answer. So yeah, uni, I'm medicated. the only reason I went back on meds this year was because the work I do doesn't require me to think as much as I would like. And I was so understimulated. Like the department, people who work basically in my area don't necessarily need to do much because they rely so much on legislation.
Yep.
And everyone's told what to do. So they're happy to just...
See, it's all process.
Everyone's happy to just be process-based or, or they'll just handball things up the chain. And I'm sitting here going, okay, what else can I learn? That's the thing. Like, I got so bored at work that I went back to uni. And that's the thing, I'm doing something I'm interested in. So again, that's not the issue. But the only reason I'm on meds at the moment...
What are you studying now?
Masters of Intelligence and Counterterrorism.
Wow.
Still not intelligent.
Wow.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, go. What else did you want to run with? We really knocked that topic. That's the only reason. The meds were literally cheap because of work.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was falling asleep. That's how bad it was.
Nice. At work, you're falling asleep?
Bro, I do my work and I'm looking around and go, so what else can I do? Well, I'd look around and I'd find inefficiencies. I found inefficiencies and things that we can improve on.
And they don't like you.
Nah, they
don't
hate
like
it.
being told what.
Yeah.
How they're running it's not right.
Yeah, no.
Even though it's coming from a good place.
Yeah, they don't care. I was like, we can do this, and this to save time, to increase the workload, to do more, and to do it better. That's nice. I was like, cool. And then they go to me, you look bored. I was like, yeah. And then they go, any way we can help you, let me do what I want to do to make things more efficient so I don't have to sit here and get triggered every time someone does something the long way. Yeah, okay. Let's sit and talk about it.
So do you think, but with the ADHD, do you think it affects the way you deal with people, like with your relationships with people?
It depends on it depends on the person, depends on the relationship.
So different type of relationships, it affects differently. Is what?
Definitely, I think so. If we're talking friendships,
yep.
If they're surface level friendships, out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
If I know you, I'll remember you. I'll remember when we've met, all that kind of stuff. Like, you're not out of my mind completely, but I'm not gonna reach out.
Yeah.
So acquaintances, like, hey, hi, how you going? Bye. Close friends, always got time for them. No matter like the work will be falling apart, their work will be falling apart. I got them.
But do you find does your ADHD, even though do you find yourself just saying stuff or like them taking you wrong?
Nah.
So like misinterpreting, like, you know what I mean? Causing your ADHD causing you unintentional conflict within relationships.
Not really, no. So with regards to like randoms, masking, no one will ever know.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one can tell. Unmasking, unmasked, not masking with close friends doesn't really affect it because they've got the same, like, I don't randomly blurt out shit. I haven't got threats. We're not random, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously with the humor, dark humor, whatever, everyone has different types of humor. You're not going to be really with friends with people that can't understand your sarcasm.
Yeah.
Like if you can't understand sarcasm, get away from me. If you don't like a joke, convey that message. Don't sit there and let it, fester inside and say, oh, what you said the other day offended me. Okay, communicate with adults.
Yeah.
But
that's also very common with people these days. Like
exactly. But people hate conflict.
That's it. Do you find with ADHD, like you don't look for conflict, but you're happy to address it?
Yeah. So what I realized is we have a very strong sense of justice and fairness. So if someone does say something wrong, even not to me, but in general, and they don't want to defend themselves, I'll actually step in and call them out because I have no time for it. It's like, if you want respect, man, respect is earned. Yeah.
I think I feel like I grew up like having similar feelings and stuff like that, but you end up learning the hard way.
Yeah, no, we both did.
Yeah.
We both did.
But I'm saying, like, when it comes to the real world and the professional world, work world, like you have to learn to pick your battles.
Yeah, work is unique.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't be a doormat.
Of course.
Because then at the same time, you're like, how you feel inside is going to literally tear you apart.
Yeah.
So the moral for me is just say your truth. Say whatever, not say whatever, but say if you need to say something and it's worth saying, like obviously gauge, is it purposeful? Gauge the intention behind it. If you're coming from a place of malice, trying to hurt someone, don't say it at all.
Yeah, of course.
But if you're saying, hey, I don't appreciate the way you communicated or the way you did that, or you invalidated this, then that's.
I think a lot of it's learning to pick the time as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Like when you should say something.
Yeah, definitely. There's been times where I've just noticed something that's annoyed me, and I've just gone, you know what? Save it for later. There is no need. Like you don't have to address every little thing then and there.
You learn to let things go.
Yeah, you really have to, or else you're going to sit there harboring resentment against the world. But yeah, work is unique because obviously it's a professional environment. You've got to pick your battles. You've also got to stand your ground, but you've also got to understand that people think differently. What might offend you might not offend them, vice versa. You have to obviously tiptoe around some settings, and work is one of them. Friends, probably not. Like not at all. I think they're friends for a reason. They're close friends for a reason as well.
Yeah.
Relationships, probably not, because it's different ballpark completely. I think because you've got the empathy and the care there as well.
Do you find with relationships, because I'm sure, like, would you be open with them about your ADHD early, or?
I don't really hide anything, to be honest, because I don't really care to. Because it's not something to be ashamed of.
Yeah.
It's not like it doesn't affect me in a negative capacity to such an extent in which, well, it doesn't anymore. In which I'm like, oh my God, he's got ADHD. Like, what's he gonna do next? I'm like,
yeah, but like I'm saying, like when you were younger, would you have been like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything, and like I don't want them to think I'm weird.
I think
because I'm sure there would have been a stage where you would have had to come to terms with it. Yeah,
I think there was a time where I gaslit myself into believing I didn't have it.
Yeah,
because I did so well in school, wasn't on medication, and then
that was ADHD talking.
Yeah, and then you realize it's like, hold up one sec. I was like, no, I've got it. I'm just really good at managing it. But yeah, I think in romantic relationships is very different because, again, I don't know about you, but for me, if I get along with someone, I get along with them. Like there's no facade, there's no mask. Like I'll just be myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't really care to attract anyone that doesn't, Yeah,
it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, it's like, bubbly, energetic, talkative, witty, sarcastic, whatever. If you can't handle me...
Can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Wow. Unless something completely different, but it was... Sorry. Can't say that. No. What I can't say what I want to say. But anyway. But that's the thing. It's like, be authentic. So that's one thing I've learned over the past probably 5 to 6 years. Just be authentic. Not everyone's going to be a cup of tea, and vice versa. Not everyone needs to like you. And that's the thing. Growing up in primary school, high school, you're trying to be liked.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see what I can do to fit in. And I never did that. I just wasn't capable of doing that. And therefore, as a result of that, you kind of don't fit in anywhere. You don't fit in because the reality is if you're not like the rest of them, then if you're not interested in what they're going to say, you don't care for their banter, they're like the bullying or the teasing random people, and you're sitting there going, what's the point of this, man? You kind of isolate yourself, and then at the same time now you're just comfortable being alone. You're comfortable in your own space. So you're happy to attract people that, are going to, reciprocate that energy and, talk to you the way they talk to everyone else and sarcastically and whatever. And then people who just think you're rude and stupid and sarcastic, then the door's there. Like people would look at you.
What you want.
People would look at you and go, "Oh my God, you're so annoying." Okay, but people find me funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's your experience with people just going?
Yeah,
if you find me much.
Yeah, if you find me annoying, it's probably for a reason.
Yeah, I'm probably annoying you. Yeah. So you stop talking. Like everything's intentional. There's some intention behind certain things. Like don't. It's
all calculated.
Yeah, unfortunately, the 30,000 thoughts in your head. Yeah, have you ever not even annoyed someone intentionally, Yeah, actually,
Yeah,
annoyed
just
someone
annoyed someone
intentionally.
intentionally.
Just so they stop talking and they get the message. It's like, all right, your presence is not welcome here.
Yeah. No, not even your presence not welcome here. It's just you haven't. I just can't.
I just don't want to talk to you, man. Get out.
You're just in the line of fire today. I'm sorry.
But that's the thing. I realized this. The moment we're talking about the fairness and justice thing, the moment someone does something wrong or like unjust,
Yeah, you're the way you look at them. It's
done.
yeah.
It's the witty sarcasm and the humor turn to brutality. Like, and then you see there's like the thoughts in your head, like they're not safe.
Yeah.
And it's people that aren't on the firing line find it hilarious. Oh, but I'm like, I can't say that or that. Let's just shut up and walk away. But that's the thing. People don't realize it's like, yeah, everyone's kind, but to some extent, you're gonna draw a line somewhere. But that's the thing. Like, you're smiling because I know what you're thinking. But that's the thing. It's like those thoughts. You sit there going, how did my brain come up with that comeback?
Like you said before, though, like when like those thoughts in your head, you end up living like you live scenarios in your head.
Yeah. What would have happened had I said that?
Yeah. Like I remember when, like growing up, I even thought a bit like you argue with yourself. You're like, if I have a comeback for myself, like,
yeah.
Like if I'm going to get into an argument with someone, I need to have a comeback for everything I'm going to say.
Have you ever heard someone say, it's like, oh my God, you're really quick? Like, you're really witty?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I know I'm witty because I've had this conversation in my head before
That's it.
prior to even speaking. And then people go, that's a good comeback. I'm like, yeah, it was. I loaded it in the chamber the moment you started arcing up. Like, I've already got an idea of what you're going to say based on your personality. So I'm ready. Like, let's go. I don't have to throw hands. I just use my mouth. It's all good. Like, words are enough.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like,
and it can come in so handy as well, especially like,
definitely.
You can put your foot in your mouth very easily.
Yeah.
Especially like, but in the professional sense of it, but also in the professional sense of it, it can come in so handy.
Yeah.
Like especially like with my work, for example, where if someone's trying to cut corners and like they're trying to get something signed off from us, and I know they haven't finished everything.
Yeah.
So I'm already expecting what they're going to say. And I've already, like you said, you work people out.
Yeah.
I know what type of person I'm dealing with when I start dealing with them.
The thing is, I wish they knew. Imagine they would move differently if they knew that we knew how they were.
No, but it's fun.
It is fun, but they also sit there gobsmacked like, oh, so you were expecting this? I'm like, yeah, I was. It's like, I'm not shocked when someone does something I already assumed they were going to do. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it takes the fun out of it. It's like even the conversations, I think we were speaking of this before, it's like finishing conversations before people have even opened their mouth. And then you sit there, especially if it's at work, you sit there, I swear, it's the most painful thing ever. It's like standing in line as a kid and you're just like, without a phone. Imagine standing in line without a phone.
I think the thing with people at work or like kids at school, when you like we're at school, is like you're with them so often.
Yeah.
You understand them, like their tendencies so well. You know what's coming.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like, yep.
Yeah. But with regards to that, it's like, okay, like it kind of gets boring because you're sitting there going, all right, that's why you need the mental stimulation from conversations that are actually deep conversations. Like I know what the weather is, man. I'm outside. It's raining. Yes. I've got an umbrella. Like, cool. But then you have those deep conversations with people that you want to, like your people, and you're sitting there going, rabbit holes. We can jump down and pretty much talk about anything. And that's the thing. We're also great at giving advice because of how our brains think, like the problem solving.
Yeah.
Like we've got 30 different solutions to the same problem from different angles. Like when someone goes to you, and that's actually, before I say that, it's like, then you couple that with the emotional intelligence that you have to develop. Like people out here saying, the emotional intelligence is like not necessarily something they've got, but something we had to basically manufacture and develop because we had to understand people
to
fit in. And it was like, oh, you're emotionally intelligent. Like, cool. I had to be. I literally have to be.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, I wouldn't survive. And then you couple that with your giving advice. But then have you realized we give the best advice, but don't take our own advice?
100%.
It's just like.
But in saying that, what would your advice be to someone or someone with or a younger kid or even anyone that has high functioning ADHD?
I think the worst thing you can do to them is probably tell them if you like, the rubbish. If they wanted to, they would.
What?
If they wanted to, they would.
In what way? Like, if you wanted to do something, you would do it?
Yeah. It's not. It's more so if they could do it, they would do it. The reality is because it comes down to capacity.
But what are you saying to the person though?
That's what I'm saying. So like change the mindset.
But
don't say if you just applied yourself. Figure out how to apply them. So understand.
No, but I'm talking about to the actual person, not people around them.
No, but a kid isn't going to know, understand this. To a parent, this is the advice I'd give the parent.
What about I'm talking about what about an adult?
Adult would be to realize that you have to kind of sit with yourself and then kind of look in the mirror and go, what do I want to change? What do I need to change? Stop smoking, Dan. What do I need to change? And then I'd probably sit there and pick one. Don't pick everything, because if you bite off more than you can chew, you're going to do absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So pretty much don't deny it. Like don't deny yourself.
Yeah, no, allow yourself to understand that you're going to, if you walk in the house one day after work and you sit down, you're going to lose 2 hours due to time blindness. But if you walk in the house and you do everything before you sit down, you're going to get everything done. Don't sit there, but then also be kind to yourself, because again, back to we never have that satisfaction of getting things done or achieving anything. Burnout is more frequent people who are neurotypical.
Yeah.
So neurodivergent. So neurotypicals, people who don't have anything on the spectrum. They want to be, it's fruity. But neurodiverse people, so people on the spectrum, experience burnout 10 times more often because we're constantly running. We're constantly doing things. That's the thing. That's back to the thing. We thrive in chaos.
Yeah.
I'm the most calm, in calm environments, in chaos. All right, bet. What's next? What do we need to do?
Yeah, because that's what you've learned to, I guess, live with.
Yeah, so
it's trial by fire.
Pretty much. People are just like, "How are you so calm?" Well, I gotta get things done now. What do you mean? This is where I shine, and everyone's just manic, stressed out, and goes, this is why you like your schedule packed. I'm like, yeah, because if I get things, if I have things scheduled, if I'm doing the most or whatever, then I have to stick to it.
Yeah.
If I've got 3-4 days off with nothing planned, I could literally lose 4 days. Not even because I'm lazy, because I'm not. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not lazy.
So do you find yourself getting distracted very easy? I'm
distracted if I have nothing scheduled.
Yeah. So that was my next question. So for example, I can sit there on Instagram Reels, TikTok, those, just flicking through it, an hour and a half pass.
That's the thing. That's time blindness. Time blindness is it's social media has exacerbated the effects, made it 10 times worse. Because you sit there and you just doom scroll. You're just sitting on your phone in bed, losing your mind, and it's the instant dopamine. So the hallmark characteristic of ADHD is impulsivity. And that basically means you're impulsively seeking dopamine. So you'll do the reckless behavior. Remember as a kid, all the reckless stuff we used to do?
Yeah. It was fun.
It was fun, but it was seeking dopamine. Because ADHD isn't really an attention deficit disorder. Let's just preface this. It's more so a dopamine deficiency disorder. So it has to do with dopamine receptors in the brain. And basically they're at a lower level than the typical people.
Mm-hmm.
So basically we do all this daredevil chasing dopamine. Yeah. The scrolling, some people binge eat, some people personally, for me, it used to be sport and still is sport. The endorphins, running for me. You just run. But then the thing is, you also forget to eat. Wow. But I don't binge eat. Some people do. Video games. Obviously not as much now because I don't really care for it.
So you're highly susceptible to addiction as well.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's be aware of that and then choose your vices wisely.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you know, some people self-medicate as well. Like I didn't realize this recently, but there was like an old guy in Perth, I think it was in the news. He was self-medicating with meth
Nice.
for 40 years.
Fair enough.
He was taking a point a day.
Well.
And then he went to the doctors, got referred. Oh, mate, got ADHD. And then they gave him ADHD meds. Now he's clean. The thing is, because meth lights up the brain with dopamine.
Right.
Any drug lights up the dopamine receptors in the brain. Hence why I don't do drugs. But the reality is, it's like, well, if you do that, you're also going to negate the health risks. So then you kind of sit there and go, it's not really beneficial. It's like, well, addictive personality. Does that mean when you drink, you can't stop? You can't stop? No, it's not what addictive personality is. That's not how it works. Like we still have self-control. Yeah. We're not off the rails.
It's not necessarily substances, but if I'm like
playing a game,
if I get into something, I'm getting into it.
Yeah, but that's any hobby as well.
That's what I mean.
Like I'll have a new hobby every month.
Yeah, exactly. Like you'll find yourself go through like a YouTube rabbit hole.
Yeah, and you just learn everything.
Yeah, like
everything possible.
Like some people would just look it up. Oh yeah, that's cool. But I'd go in and find like why they're doing things, how they're doing it, for what reason, and like, you know what I mean? Just that next level.
No, but yeah, that's the thing. But then if you find one thing that doesn't interest you, and you care less. But that's the thing, like creativity wise, everyone I know with ADHD, including myself, is are the most creative people out there. Like just the way our brains are wired allow us to solve problems from various angles quite easily. But at the same time, if we don't care about a problem or a problem that doesn't interest us, good luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, well, take this for example. It took us how long to figure it out, and we've been doing it for how many years? You know, kind of an obsession. It started off with, people can't do it. Not even an obsession, but like it was a hobby. It was one of those hobbies. You just pick it up and you go,
I'll learn how to do that.
Yeah. And it's that absurd confidence. Sorry.
And I'll do it quicker.
Yeah. And you just get better and better. But that's the thing. It's like everyone's seeking dopamine, but people with ADHD seek it to a different extent, because in order to function, we have to do a lot more just to get to baseline.
Yeah.
And then even when we get baseline, we go above it. It's like a wave. It's peaks and troughs is the best way to describe it. Whereas people are usually stable. If you think of it like a wavelength, we're peaks and troughs.
Yeah, you got your highs and your lows.
Yeah, but they happen a lot more frequently. So when someone says they've got ADHD and they haven't got ADHD, it's like, mate, you're just having a bad day. You just didn't get your 9 hours of sleep. And then they said 9 hours, and I'm like, I run on 3, 4. And they're like, what?
And they're like, you get sleep?
Yeah, I was like, you sleep? I was like,
yeah.
You need 9 hours to function. I'd hate to see you on 1 hour or 2. I'm like, you're not even really functioning on 9 hours, but that's cool.
Oh.
It's a difficult topic to really encapsulate in a podcast, I think, because again, so much can be said,
and it's so different for everyone. That
pretty much, so much can be said, so much can be discussed with regards to how to manage it, how to cope with it. If you're dealing with it,
are there support lines? Or?
I wouldn't even say support lines. I'd say the best thing you can do for yourself isn't necessarily rely on psychiatrists and psychologists if you're diagnosed already. It would be to sit with yourself, realize that the best way to mitigate symptoms is by educating yourself.
Yeah.
Figure out what isn't ADHD. Figure out what you want to do, how your personality is, your traits and characteristics, mechanisms, and then do the inner work. I know it's hard, and I know it's easier than done. And I'm not saying this as in like you should be there already. I'm saying it as in like if you take the time to do the work, you can better yourself. And don't rely on anyone. Don't rely on support from people, because we're used to being misunderstood, and we're chronic oversharers, and it doesn't get you anywhere.
Yep.
So if you're diagnosed, if you're not diagnosed, and you do think you've got ADHD, because it does present itself differently.
Yeah,
Women,
if you do truly believe you've got it, or like you might be affected by it, speak up. Like, don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't sit
Don't
there
be
and
afraid to
minimize it.
Like, even if you don't feel comfortable going, like, speaking to someone, I guess one of your peers or someone close to you, go to a doctor. Like,
Yeah, go to a doctor, get a referral.
Speak to your GP, get a referral, and then I think that's probably the best way to go from there.
Yeah, well, definitely. It's more apparent in women at an older age than men, because women mask perfect. Like, she was just a quiet kid. Yeah. And the amount of people I know today that are getting diagnosed in their 20s, late 20s, astonishing. No women, because it presents differently.
Yeah.
So again, symptoms differ, and it's different between genders. So like, I can't say something that's in a blanket everyone, but if you're suffering with it, you're better off getting put in a box than living your life being like, I'm so confused why I've got this, and I understand people invalidate your feelings. I understand people will not understand what you're saying is actually ADHD. Like, I forget my keys in every room I leave them in if I'm not actually paying attention. And then when I forget things, but then I remember everything else, like conversations from years past, people are like, you have a really good memory, but I'll forget something that isn't important or apparent to me. And then I'll be like, oh, you're just pulling the ADHD card. I'm like, no, it's not an excuse. It's valid.
So I think the biggest thing take out of it is don't be afraid to speak up.
No, like, never.
Reach out. But yeah, if whatever you need to do to get that help or think to benefit yourself, don't be afraid to do it. You can either speak to your GP, reach out to us, and we can do it. I'm sorry, we went on a bit of a tangent with this one.
I think that was going to be the topic of discussion was ADHD. There is no way we're having a leading discussion about anything
without
to do
getting
with ADHD.
going full ADHD.
Pretty much.
We appreciate you guys tuning in. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Good luck following along, I guess.
No worries. Peace out.